Hello, film world. I am the Patrick, your host of Tomorrow Comes Movies, the podcast that spoiler talks movies. And each episode, I'll be joined by a guest co-host from a roster of movie fans to varying degrees. Welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in. And before we get started with the announcements, always remember, no matter what episode of Tomorrow Comes Movies you listen to, you can always join the conversation by doing one to two different ways. Way number one, or the first way to do it, I should say, hashtag TOCMovies wherever you're at on social media. Or the second way, once again, hashtag TOCMovies, but you can add us. Our social media handle is the same across all the platforms at TOCMovies. And yeah, definitely join the conversation. Announcements, broken record, but we're down to the final 4 episodes of the action series. And so I'm very excited to finally get those out. We're still in the works on 2 of them that are having some technical issues, but the other 2 should be coming out relatively soon. Hidden Gems of Cinema, we have a few that will be coming out soon, and I've already kind of revved up that series. That series basically got revved up because it got put on hold during my hiatus, and now I'm finishing up the recordings there. And of course, we're going to have some other things in the works, like hopefully more new cinema releases of films in theaters. And of course, we have, as I record this today, I launched basically a PSA on Twitter that if you're a friend of mine in real life, I'm saying this on the podcast, or as I said on Twitter, if you're a mutual of mine, if you're into horror movies, I'm going to be launching a series soon that's going to cover nothing but horror movies. And it's hopefully going to start recording next month so we can launch it in October. And if you're interested, whether I know you're in real life, you're an awesome Twitter mutual, or a guest co-host that's been on before, reach out to me if you haven't already. And basically, you choose the movie, and there's over 70 to choose from, or you can recommend one. I'm always up for it because the horror film genre is my least versed one. Like I'm not very well versed in that genre. So this is a very exciting opportunity. And of course, there'll be another movie series that should be launching soon. I might tease it maybe this weekend, depending on when you listen to this recording, it might be out already. But yeah, that is another one I'm in the works with. And then there's some others as well. So a lot of things are happening. So stay tuned for that. This particular episode, it's kind of a first in Tomorrow Comes Movies, the second iteration of this podcast history, because we're going back to back with the same guest co-host. So it's a returning guest co-host. And this is one of my coolest Twitter mutuals who has one of the coolest names. I truly love it, by the way. And this was a very fun episode. I cannot wait to get started with this. So please welcome my awesome Twitter mutual with one of the coolest handles of all time, Edwin, aka Movie Douche. How you doing, Edwin?
Great, thanks. And I love that you love my name, so that's cool. Hello, everyone.
It's the only time that I can say to somebody, "Hey, Movie Douche." Like you can never do that with
And
anybody else because you're about to
it's
get
not an
hands.
insult. Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to have you back. Every time I go on a break, you are the first person I usually will podcast with. This happened with our first episode, which hasn't come out yet at the time of this recording, but it will be out. But I don't know if you know that, but every time I take a break, you're the first one up.
I'm just the first one to hit you up.
Yeah, like like I was supposed to. I'm gonna be recording with somebody soon, but as soon as I put this call out for the movie we're gonna review, it was so funny when you were like, "I'm down," and I'm like, every time Movie Douche is the one. And you always catch me while I'm in a transition period where like I just got off, like I just took a month off, right? So, and I was burnt out, like extremely burnt out. And it's funny because I recorded with you. You were, I think, my second to last recording. And I think I tell you that I'm burnt out, but like when we did our episode together, it kind of rejuvenated me. And then I go, I'm gonna take a whole month off after this. um, but have you ever experienced that burnout with movies?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like never like I don't want to watch any movies for like a week, but maybe like a few days.
Wow. Yeah, I was going on. I mean, I watched movies in July, obviously, but there was a point where like I would literally be home, will not touch a movie. I would not. I would literally just be like, whatever. I would sit there. I sat there for like 3 hours. Didn't even go on my phone. I just sat there for 3 hours being like, yeah, I'm not going to watch a movie. I
What
don't.
were you doing? Just, like, staring at the wall?
Yeah, I was so burnt out, creatively with the podcast. That's what it really came down to.
Mm.
It was like one thing I've debated because when I go through this podcast, like I said, you're in a transition period where I'm like, one of the feedbacks I got was I was thinking, maybe you can help me with this, is I'm telling somebody in my circle, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm actually multiple people in my circle. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stop being as personable on my podcast. I think I'm gonna stop saying things about me. And they're all like, why? That's like, isn't that kind of what the show's about, right? Like, we want to know what's going on with you. And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, what happened to you? And I'm like, creatively, I'm burnt out. And they're like, no, no, something, there has to be more to this. And I was like, yes, but yeah, I don't know. So that was one. So that's why I did not come back. And then it's really weird to say this. I don't know actually if I'm gonna say this or not, but, like, sometimes there's I don't know if you go through this in life, but I'm not gonna elaborate too into this because this will come off so wrong, but
Okay.
do you ever feel that sometimes you gotta, like sometimes you feel like people think when you're a certain way that that's how you are all the time, and then, like, they don't know how to deal with you when you're not like that? I don't know if that makes any sense to you?
No, yeah, I think I know what you're saying, like, more like people's perception of you rather
Yes.
than who you actually are.
Yes. Do you go through that? I'm asking you, like,
Yeah,
personal questions.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I say more so maybe, like, in my 20s, now I'm 35. I would say, like, now I feel like I care less about other people's perception of me because, like that corny it's kinda corny, but it's a really good quote, but it's like, like, what other people's perception of you is none of your business, like, it's all
Hmm.
like they could think whatever they want, and they're going to no matter what, even if you explain yourself. So you just live I just am who I am, and I know who I am?
Wow, might be why I wanna be an actor. I'm clearly not happy with myself. Um,
Yes, put it in your art, channel it in there.
yeah, I should probably listen to that. That's actually a really good quote, and actually what you said is true. That is something I'm going through in that whole month of July. That was another thing where I'm like, I don't really care what people think anymore. But yeah, I don't wanna watch movies. I don't wanna come back. I wouldn't even go on Twitter. It was really I don't know if it's a creative thing now that I'm taking acting classes. I'm taking it very serious now that I went into a method acting movie douche where I refused to talk to anybody for a week.
Oh,
Yeah,
what was the character?
so the character, this is really ridiculous, but this character was this guy who is he's humorous. He's also he has a personality, but he's incredibly guarded due to childhood trauma. And his
Okay.
girlfriend is moving because she got an opportunity through her job, and she wants him to come with her, but he does not want to leave. And so my teacher tasked us with coming up with when you're an actor, you really have to. I mean, I feel like everyone should know this, but I'm just going to break it down like people are like 2 years old. But you have to come up with. You have to go through a script analysis. You go through the script. You kind of figure out what you think of it, and then he wanted us to do a character background of what the childhood trauma was. And I come back to him the following week with 3 pages. 3 pages. And he goes, "Was this AI?" And I'm like, I took that so personal. I was like, "No." Like, no, like, I would never use it. I wouldn't. I was like, I wrote it. And, because I'm also wanting to be, I've always I write screenplays. So I guess I should just say screenwriter. I'm just not like a paid one. But he made me laugh was he goes through the papers, right? And he
Uh-huh.
goes, I didn't understand why your character went with mom, so I had to go back to the beginning. You really did go through all the bases to make sure that it was specified to why you went with mom. Because like I was like, because like it's so far in the beginning of the story that you have to go back to it if you're like. So I made sure to follow everything. So I played this character, and I was gonna cry because if you deal with trauma and you're not really good at expressing yourself as I could relate to this character, and I went through a similar situation, you have to find ways that kind of you want to do something that's going to convince people. You don't, and it's because you acting is really hard because, and I'm learning this more and more. It's easy to criticize, but to go up there and actually do it is really hard because you have to do it in a way that's truthful. So I was
Yeah.
gonna cry. So I'm practicing. I found something on YouTube, this exercise, and it makes me cry every time. Okay.
Is it like that breezing in and out thing?
No, actually, I can share this. I might even put it in if you ever want to do this to process your trauma, or if you want to be an actor. Is there's this video where this teacher is telling you that instead of looking at your fellow actor who is on life support and they're about to pull the plug, is instead of thinking of the actor that you don't know, think of the most important person in the world, and you have 5 minutes to say goodbye to that person. And that gets me, movie douche, every time. It gets me because I'm balling. I'm balling. I'm drinking a lot of water, so I'm constantly peeing like an 80-year-old man to get the tears out. And so I watch an actor go up. He's incredible, and he cries. And I'm like, damn it. There go. I was like, I'm not doing it now. So I'm not doing it. So what I decide to do is at the end of the scene, she's like, I hope one day you stop uh, surviving, start living, and then you have to watch her leave. So I'm naturally, it's starting to hit me. Basically, I became my mom. My mom did the same thing. She didn't, ruin the whole, like this whole family thing went downhill. So I basically repeated the trauma instead of fixing it and going with the love of my life. So what I decided to do is I've heard people say this. This is not me, but people say they punch walls or they hit things when they're upset. So I'm realizing that I screwed up and I'm getting emotional. So I turn around and I look at the dresser mirror. I decide I'm going to slam my hand as hard as I can on the top of the dresser, and I'm not going to think about it because if I do, it will destroy the performance. So I naturally get into this role. I'm doing it. I right at the last moment, I slam it as hard as I can, and it feels good for 10 seconds before I feel excruciating pain, and it goes numb for about 5 minutes. And the teacher goes, I could have told you not to slam your hand on that. I've done it. It does not feel good. Does it feel good? I was like, it's numb. But the good thing was he said that it was a good performance that would garner me a callback. So I should take that as a, good thing, even though my hand was excruciatingly in pain.
I mean, art is pain, you know?
Yeah. But let me tell you, people who punch walls and stuff, I don't know if you do that. You don't have to answer, but I'm like, that's not an
No,
option
I
for me.
don't. I did not.
Yeah, no. So so that was like something that I went through where I won't talk to people, where I won't be online. So yeah, this burnout is interesting because it's a mixture of like personal creative. So I love how you're just like, I came on here to talk about a movie and you're here to tell me why you've been burnt out for a month. But yeah, that's basically where I've
No, I
been.
love it. This is interesting.
Yeah, it is yeah, and another reason why it was good to take that month off too was I've taken my acting so serious in the last 3 weeks that I've killed it the last 3 weeks, according to what people are
Yeah.
telling me, which is good because I used to not really take it as serious, but then I'm constantly like, I like what you were telling me about when you record with me on these podcasts. That's what I'm doing for like 10 hours. So I'll do like 20,000 steps. Like, it's
Yeah.
insane, and I'm just reading the script over and over and over and over. So, yeah, so now that I'm coming back to podcasting, we're gonna see how well the balance goes, and then, I can't say on here yet, but there's something I did tease on Twitter, or I did mention on Twitter, but I haven't been able to fully announce it because, it's not time for other people to hear this news, but there's some big things in the works for me. But, yeah, that's why
Okay, countdown.
yeah, that's why I'll just tell you after we're done recording because I like I said,
Okay.
posted it like a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. So for you, what have you been up to? Any movies you've seen outside of the one we're gonna review? What about the Odyssey? I know you probably saw that. And I'm assuming you
Yeah,
loved
I
it.
saw yeah, I loved Odyssey. I saw Spider-Man, all the big movies. So it's been good. I feel like I this is a good movie year, and it's only like halfway through. So I love it.
Yeah, everyone says Brand New Day's awesome. I love comic book movies. I have not even watched it, which is shocking to people. I have not watched it. I don't know when I'm gonna watch it. You know, that's it bothers me because I know the spoilers, by the way. Everyone has spoiled it, so I already know what happens in
Yeah, they
Brand
were
New Day.
spoiling it like the Thursday night it came out already.
Yeah, but yeah, so which of the 2 did you like would you say you like them more? The Odyssey or Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Oh, definitely the Odyssey. The Odyssey, I loved it. Spider-Man, I liked it. Like it was amusing, but I wouldn't say like I'm on like I don't praise it as much as everybody else is or seems to be.
I gotta see it. I gotta see it. I'll tell you one thing, the Odyssey, I watched that during my burnout, and I forced myself to go because I didn't go for, like, a couple weeks, and I sat there and watched it, and it's amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I love Christopher Nolan. I mean, clearly, in the background, you can see it. like I said, this will be an audio only podcast, but you can see that there's Interstellar and Inception back here on my screen. But yeah, like I love it. But I'm watching it. And I'm not kidding, movie douche. I'm watching this movie going, this is amazing, but fuck, man, I am done on movies for a while. Like throughout the 3 hours, I'm saying this to myself, and then I hear Robert Pattinson like, "Get these beggars out of here," and I was ready to get up and walk out because I was like, you know what, I am one of those beggars. But yeah, I gotta see those movies. Yeah, I think it's a good movie year. I think every year we see people say like it's not a good movie year, and I'm like, is it really not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like every year there's a lot of good movies, and there's a lot of movies that are like womp womp, right?
Yeah, I feel like people who say that and they're like, modern movies are not as good or there's no good movies out, they're just people that are like casual movie watchers, like they're only thinking about the blockbusters. They don't think about like all the other movies that come out during the year.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, that might be another reason why I got burnt out. I think being a creative person and I go on Twitter and I see all these people just trash talking Tom Holland's acting in the Odyssey, and I'm like, it really wasn't that bad. I don't know what you guys were talking about. It was fine to me personally. I don't think there was any issues with his performance.
I also agree. Like, I like Tom Holland. I don't think he's like one of the greatest actors. Like, I think everybody is very like they're all or nothing. Like online, they have to either really love something or really hate it. Like, there's no room for in between. Like, Tom Holland is a good actor and he's very capable. He's just not like someone that you're like, oh, he's one of the best. And that's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, also his character wasn't technically going to have this. Like, he has emotion. He does show it when it gets to those parts of the Odyssey, but I mean, the clip they use with him versus like Anne Hathaway when they're having this mother son. I mean, it's been out for a while, so I don't care if people are like we're spoiling things. But in that
Hey, it made
scene,
$1 billion. You guys should have watched it by
yeah, I mean,
now.
in that scene, I don't expect him to match Anne Hathaway's character because the characters are different. He doesn't really know his dad. She lost her husband for multiple decades, okay? Like, yeah, there's a lot of anger in that, like, in that scene. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It was a really weird thing to see people arguing about that,
Yeah,
right?
that's the annoying thing about film Twitter. Like, they just get a clip out of context and try to judge it, but you can't really do that. It has to be like all together as a movie and how it fits into the movie, not just how it fits in this one scene. So people are like not really analyzing it with any context or cohesiveness.
Exactly. And this is why you're on the podcast. So here's the actual questions I was supposed to ask you before jumping
Okay,
into a
yes.
15-minute tangent of being like, I'm burnt out and I want you to know why. First question. These are just warm-ups.
Yes.
Are you a fan of rom-com, the genre?
I love rom-coms, yes.
Same here. I do too. This is why it's going to be interesting to talk about the movie we're going to be discussing. Now,
Yeah. Like
you,
when you're sick and you just wanna watch something easy or you're like you wanna feel like you wanna be in love, believe in love, that's the movie to go to.
yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. And so, what are some of your favorite rom coms or just romance films in general?
Well, rom-coms, I would say my absolute favorite is 13 Going on 30. I love that movie so much. Also, probably like most people's favorite answer, When Harry Met Sally, a classic. 13 Going on 30 is my favorite, but When Harry Met Sally is probably like the best rom-com. It's like the quintessential rom-com. So those are all good. And just like romance movies in general, like I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like I like a sweeping epic romance. So like if it's something that's like 3 hours long, like Doctor Zhivago or something like that, like but it's like a romance story, I'm like, okay, I'm into it.
Okay. I haven't seen Doctor Zhivago, and I need to. I always get it confused with Doctor Strangelove, which makes no sense. If I've seen Doctor Strangelove,
Yeah, definitely very different movies.
yeah. You said mine was When Harry Met Sally. To me is my all time favorite. It's so relevant. It's so honest,
Yeah.
and yeah. It's funny is I do write my screenplays. I have two. They're both in the romance genre. I guess you could classify them as rom coms, but one in particular, I can't say much about it, but I've always wanted to make a spiritual successor to When Harry Met Sally because I love it.
Mm.
I mean, it cannot be remade, it cannot be duplicated, but I've always wanted I have one that I feel that and then it comes out it's gonna be Ron as much as this last movie we're about to review. But I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I love When Harry Met Sally. I never saw 13 going on 30. Like I said,
Oh my god, really?
no, I know what it is. I've seen parts of it. I know Mark Ruffalo's in it, but it's so funny is the young Patrick would not have watched that movie. The young Patrick is like, no, but today's Patrick is like, you know what? Everyone loves this movie. They're making a TV show. I don't care about the TV show. I'll probably watch the movie. I
Oh
need to
yeah, I do not care about the remake. I'm mad about that. Like, but the movie, like it's great. Like I was kind of the same as you, like young Edwin. I was like, like when you get into, I feel like everyone when they really start getting into movies, they're a little pretentious. Like you have to go through your pretentious era, to be a cinephile. So like, and I felt like I was like, oh, rom coms, but then like I was like raised with all women, so we go to like the movies to see it, and I remember just being like, "Wow, I love this," like so I couldn't hide it.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that there is a remake of 13 going on 30 because I mean, how old is the original? It's not that old, is it?
I mean, it came out like early 2000s, I think. I mean, yeah, remake of it is just not gonna have, like that. I don't. That's like not to go too much into it because I know we're gonna talk about rom coms, but that's my kind of problem with modern rom coms. They try too much to reference earlier rom coms instead of just like being their own thing.
Yes, yes. And then I guess if I guess I should name some more. I just said When Harry Met Sally, and that was it for me. I do love that one. I do love I'm just gonna. It's not technically a rom. I think it is in a rom com element, but the Silver Linings Playbook means a lot to me.
Oh,
Um,
that's a good romance one, yeah.
I do
That
love.
that is a I think that is a rom-com,
Is
like,
it?
it's consi I mean, I mean, like, every rom-com kinda has, like, a premise, right? And this one is,
Yeah.
like, this dancing competition with 2, like, people with, like, these psychological issues, so, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it fits.
Yeah, and then I like another movie I love is Like Crazy that came out in the early 2010s, or like modern today, like Rye Lane, Broken Hearts
Oh,
Gallery.
Rye Lane is so good, I love that
Yeah.
one.
Oh, One Day. I do love the. I know the show is very good, but I started with the Anne Hathaway movie. I love that
I actually
movie.
haven't seen either, but I've heard good things about those.
I had a friend that recommended the One Day TV series, and I'm like, I stalled for like a year. I wouldn't watch it because I'm really bad with TV, right? And
Yeah.
I finally watch it, and I say to her, I text her, I go, "Why didn't you just tell me it was a adaptation of the same book with that the Anne Hathaway movie covered?" I would have totally watched it the next day if you would have told me. Because I'm
Yeah.
watching it, and I'm like, "This seems very similar." And the next, like when you get through the show, you're like, "Oh my god, it's the same thing." There's a lot. I mean, I can even go back further. It Happened One Night, Bringing a Baby. Um,
Yes.
like those. I'm a huge fan of Roman Holiday. And I'm about to say the next film, Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's problematic. I'm not oblivious, but outside of though, you take out the problematic issues, that's still a damn good rom com. So yeah, I like.
No, yeah, I love those movies, yeah.
Yeah, I always have to say that. That's what We were just talking about how modern rom coms need to just make their own way, but it feels like when it comes to talking about movies, you have to reference when there's something problematic about a movie. You're like, hold on, let me just say this because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. But yeah, those are some of my just off the top of my head. Now here's an interesting is director Will Gluck has done a few rom coms, and because of what we're gonna review, I want you to rank these three movies of his, and one being your favorite, two and three, and basically. So here are the choices: Easy A, Friends with Benefits, and Anyone But You.
You already said it, that's the ranking, those
Yeah.
3.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly it. If I gotta be honest, if you put, and I'm just being honest here, if you put Anyone But You above the other two, I cannot allow that. I gotta be honest, because the other two are just so good. So that basically wraps up the war. That was so quick because we were both on the same page on that. Um, but we're gonna be reviewing a movie that's part of a series called
Tomorrow Comes Movies presents Cinema on the Big Screen.
Cinema on the Big Screen. It's a movie series where we cover the latest films released in theaters, and we are doing Will Gluck's new movie, One Night Only. Here are the movie facts. It was released on August 7th. It's directed by Will Gluck. It's written by Travis Braun. And I looked up his IMDb, and he did a lot of kid type of shows and movies. And then he has this movie, and then he has a killer movie coming out with Lily Reinhart and Ki Hoi Kwan from
Oh.
Oscar winner. Yeah, I don't know. So it's gonna be interesting to talk about this movie. This movie, One Night Only, stars Oscar nominee, which they don't mention in the trailer, but Monica Barbaro, Callum Turner, Molly Ringwald, LeVar Burton, Charlie Gillespie, and Maya Hawke. And the synopsis of this film, according to IMDb, is two New Yorkers search for love on the one night of the year where sex is legal. Now, before we get into this review, if you haven't seen One Night Only, I mean, you might as well just go watch it in theaters. And I mean, I would say it's worth a watch, I guess. I mean, I think any movie's worth a watch. I mean, if you don't like it, that's your business. If you do, that's awesome. So, are you ready, Movie Douche, to talk movie?
I'm ready.
All right, let's talk movies. So, you're part of a transition period for me with Marco's movies, as these questions are a little different, but they're pretty much the same. It's just kind of split up in categories. So, we're going to start with the initial phase of this movie review. Is with One Night Only, was this a movie that you really wanted to see?
I don't know if really wanted, but I did want to see it. I was intrigued. Like I said, I like a rom-com, and I actually think the trailer is a pretty good trailer. Like it gets you like kind of into it, the song choice and everything. So, yeah, I wanted to, you know.
Yeah, I saw it, and so the trailer was the biggest selling point for you, correct? Like, because you like the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I just saw Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner, and I said, I'm going to check this out because I like both of those actors. So when I saw the trailer multiple times, I would see it almost every movie. In my mind, I blocked out that sex was only legal for a certain amount of hours. So I never pay attention to that. So I'm just watching it. I'm thinking, oh, this is a story about two people who are looking for love on this particular day. I assumed it was Valentine's Day. So I go into the movie and I find out what it was, and I go, what? And I did not. Is that crazy? I totally blocked that out from my head with the trailer. I was so done with that
That's
trailer.
so funny because there was like a lot of jokes. It became like a little joke trend on Twitter too, where they were like, "Oh, like on the one night you could have sex." So it's actually kind of funny you missed all that too.
Yes. And so I like rom-coms. So I was like, and I'm also one of, like you were talking about, you're pretentious in the beginning, but I'm always been like, man, I'm willing to check out any movie at this point. Like, let's just see how it
Yeah.
goes. And so now that we both saw One Night Only, the question to you is, what were your initial thoughts on it when it ended?
I thought it was a cute movie. I liked it for its genre. I feel like you always make certain allowances for genre film in a way. You know, there's certain things, certain suspense of disbelief you could have and things like that. So the biggest thing you want from like a rom-com is good chemistry, and Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner do have that. So that was kind of like at the end, the whole thing and like the classic rom-com. Like it's like a horror movie, right? When you watch a horror movie, like a slasher movie, you want to like yell at the character to be like, "No, don't go there," or "That's the killer," or "Don't go upstairs." In a rom-com, you want to be like, "Come on, guys, just get together already." You want to have that feeling, and I did have that. So I like it, but I think the premise is it's a little weird, but interesting.
A little weird. Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like a really strange concept. It was a big swing for the concept and this
Yeah.
movie. I don't know if it hit at all in the way I looked
Yeah.
at it, but you said something that I think is very interesting and very true about horror movies and the correlation with rom-coms is all movies we do in our mind. I hope to God nobody's speaking out loud. But
Yeah.
we know theater etiquette's really bad right now. But yeah, in my head, I do the same thing with horror movies and with rom-coms because I've always been the guy with friends that gives advice is I see some of this in real time watching people interact and I'm like, yeah, they should totally date. And they don't realize it. And you're just sitting there watching the conversation as you're eating your appetizer. You're like, and then one of them goes to the bathroom and usually it's the guy that I talk to and I'm just like, yeah, there's something going on here. You might want to pursue that. I don't know what the fuck you're doing right now, but you really need to lock in because this is looking good from my point of view. I look like a sports broadcaster the way I'm narrating in my head. Like, okay, he's going in. We're getting close. We're getting a first down here. That conversation's going really well. Here we go. Next play. Yeah, I just think that the concept I think it's good to have strange concepts like this because it's just
Yeah.
different. I just don't think it really works. And that was my initial thoughts. And then
Yeah, I agree because it doesn't really engage with its own premise that much.
yes. Okay. Thank you. So the next section is I was laughing when I sent this to you because when you messaged me to pull back the curtain, you're like, "What email did you send this to?" I started panicking because of the questions that I wrote. I'm like, "Oh my god, did I send this to the wrong person? They're gonna be reading this like, what is he asking this person? Like that's strange." But this next section was inspired by Sergio Leone's iconic film, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. I'm doing the great, the lame, and the abysmal of this movie. So the great is basically nothing too different from another question I used to ask people, but with the great for One Night Only, what are some of the best parts of the movie that you really enjoyed? Anything that stood out?
Like I said, the chemistry between the characters. So the scenes where they gotta like have conversations with each other and like are flirting and stuff like that. I like it. I do actually kind of have to say, even though I still like the movie, I do think a lot of the best parts of the movies are the ones we see in the trailer. In a way, like the scene of them in the restaurant, things like that. Like that's the best part, like the climax, you could say. So like, but yeah, it still works.
Yeah, that's one of the highlights is what you had mentioned a few times is the chemistry. Yeah, Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner. I keep calling him Turn something else. Turner. Um, yeah, they're really good actors. It's funny because Callum Turner never seems to get a lot of praise. I've heard people argue that he's not very good, and I've yet to be disappointed because I saw him in The Boys on the Boat, I think it was, and I liked him in
Mm.
that, and I liked him in Eternity. I think
Oh yeah, Eternity was good.
yeah, I think he's a little bit more looser in this because of the rom-com element. Well, I mean, Attorney was a rom-com too, but he had to play a very like a gentleman guy. But in this one, he can relax a little bit. Yeah, they have good chemistry. I think there's one joke that really landed for me. That the only joke in the movie that landed for me that made me laugh. And I think that the serious parts and the themes about searching for love and like like you meet somebody. I think those are great, except it's just very minimal for me. So that would be the great. Now the lame and the abysmal are kind of the same in a way, but the lame is like, were there any parts of the film that was a bit disappointing for you? Not like it wasn't like you hated it, but you're like, could have been better.
Yeah, for me, I think again, like going into like what I like love going into rom-coms, and I think most people is like you want to see these two characters kind of like engage with each other, flirt with each other, argue all these things like the rom-com stuff. And in this movie, they're kind of spend like those scenes do happen, but it's kind of like intermittently throughout the movie because most of it is like kind of like these like sitcom as like plots they get themselves into. It reminded me of like these were like a lot of little How I Met Your Mother episodes or something. Like there's those situations they get themselves into. So it's kind of like even though those weren't bad, like they were still like humorous. I felt like I wanted to spend more time with the two main characters, so that was maybe a little lame.
Actually, yeah, that is really good because yeah, like you want to see them interact because you're right on the trail. I was literally watching the trailer again and I blocked out the part about the sex purge again. I did it, but when they're talking about like in the trailer, like, what's the best part of like sex and they're eating pizza and like that is good. That's great because
Yeah,
that's what I mean. That's what it comes down to is you're having a conversation with someone. Yeah, the only issue, and I think what you're touching on is that like every time they're having a conversation, it felt like they had to add something ridiculous to make it. Yeah, it would be distracting. Like something ridiculous has to happen because it's a rom com, and I'm like, can't
yeah,
you just intertwine them a little bit better so that we can get more of a conversation? Because sometimes they're separated, and like I just want them back in the same situation. I get in the
yeah.
beginning they had to kind of not really be around each other too much and kind of meet spontaneously through their antics, but like after a while, I was like, okay, we need to get this going. The other thing that I thought was a bit disappointing for me was the humor. When I've seen Easy A and I've seen Friends with Benefits, and I love those two movies, and then I've seen Anyone But You, and I did not really care for that one. I was kind of like hoping that the humor would be a little bit better. I felt like It wasn't personally for me, but then again, I mean, I don't know what's going on. It feels like Space Jam the way everyone's. I feel like my humor's been taken by by the Monstars the way it's been going lately. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it wasn't. That
I don't
was
know. That was a good joke. Not all of your humor is taken. Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know. I feel like Patrick Ewing in that Space Jam when he tries to get the ball and they just totally miss. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But moving on to the abysmal. Now this is interesting because I'm curious on this with you. Were there parts of the movie that you really didn't like or cared about?
Oh, like what's the abysmal for me?
Yeah, like what parts you were like, I did not like that at all versus being
I think
disappointed.
I think the pivotal part is like the ending, right? And we could say spoilers here, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can go ahead.
So like in the ending where like they're finally like going to hook up with each other. They finally confess their feelings for each other. And then they don't hook up because they want to like wait a year. That and an idea is okay. But then he's like, "Oh, like maybe the fascists were right about this." I was like, "Wait, what?"
What?
Like, what a line to say. Like in any time, but especially now. Like, what are you even saying? Like that to me is when like the message of this movie, because like when it's trying to like a little bit talk about its premise, like when you see like the newscasters or people argue about the politics or whatever, like you see like people are saying like people are against the mandate and all these things, but like this movie seems at the end to kind of be like a propaganda film for that. Like we're like, oh, like there are like this is a good thing. It's like, wait, but why? Like maybe not having sex in that moment, but waiting a year and not having sex, like so you're following the oppression. It's kind of like, what is going on here?
Yeah, yeah, I gotta be honest. That's the one thing I didn't like was is this wild concept. It's cool that they did it, but it's so distracting because the whole time in the movie, I'm like, everyone's just rolling with this. Everyone's just rolling with this. Because if I remember correctly, we were just in a pandemic and people couldn't even wear masks or social distance, and they broke the rules. You're telling me that people were willing to risk other people's safety. You're telling me that people are like, I can't have sex for 364 days. Yeah, right. That's not believable. Okay, that's not believable. I don't know about you. Is there any way America could follow this rule, you think, right now?
No, I mean, I think like there's a conservative mindset and like a lot of like Gen Z and stuff might, but no, overall, no, definitely not.
I'm telling you,
Like,
you do that ban, Gen Z's gonna come around. I'm telling you. After a while, it's like, no, 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 no. I don't know. I'm not saying that everyone's a sex maniac. It's just to me, I'm just like, we as Americans, we get upset when somebody's like tells us like, hey, this is private property. Like when I worked security, private property was a
yeah,
hard concept for people. It was like, sorry, you can't be here. The property's closed. Like, well, I have freedoms, and I'm like, yeah, you have freedoms, but this is private property. Like they can't. If you told someone like you can't have sex for 364 days, I'm telling you, the jails will be packed. I'm telling you,
yeah.
there people are
People
going to
would be like,
jail.
"Hey, I don't have sex normally, but now I am just to spite you."
Yeah. So yeah, that the concept I really didn't like. The thing about them not hooking up, I think it's like it's good and bad. Like what you said, I agree with. Like the fascists are not right. I don't know why we're even going down that. No, no. But the idea that you don't need sex to connect with somebody, that's cool. But like fascism has never been cool. Okay, they're never right.
Yeah, like
Never.
I see it because they were both like these hopeless romantics while everybody else is just trying to have sex, right? They're trying to find something more meaningful. So I get that they don't want to hook up on that day and they want to wait, but like to make it like, hey, like maybe the government like oppression over us is helping my love life is pretty crazy to say.
Yeah, it is so strange to me. Yeah, that's why the whole movie it was just so baffled. And also at the same time as I'm watching this movie, these two women came in and they sat like there's like a 4 seats apart from us. I sit in the corner because I don't want to sit next to people. All right. And then they sit like 4 seats, the space, and they're talking throughout the whole movie. And it's not like they're quiet. And I'm just like, ladies, we're about to put a purge on right now for not talking for another 85 minutes, okay? Because like this is driving me nuts because I'm trying to pay attention to this love story. But moving over to another section called the need to knows, because we've talked a little bit about it. I'm just curious on this. Overall, did you like the humor?
I guess for me, it wasn't something that like like was like glaringly like bad, but it was also not something that stuck out positively either. Like there's things that I laughed at, and there's just things that I was like, oh, like that's whatever. So it wasn't like, it was just like so.
Yeah, yeah. I did not like the humor, but the one joke that worked for me was when Owen takes his girlfriend, who's played by Maya Hawke. But if you go to IMDb and you look up the character's name, her and a bunch of other characters do not have names. But
Mhm.
his girlfriend, who's played by Maya Hawke, is when basically she's telling him she wants to hook up with the neighbor who it's a cameo photo of Glenn Powell from Anyone But You.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the waiter, it's like I think it's a Japanese restaurant, and they're bringing food, and he's so distraught about her wanting to hook up with somebody on the one night only, and he did this nice beautiful dinner, and he asked the waiter, he goes, ask the chef if it's okay if she has sex with somebody else.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, the way the waiter came back, it was like, I talked to the chef, he said no. It's so
Yeah.
good. Outside of that, nothing else really worked for me. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, the thing that really I think you brought up was like when they really focus on the serious part of this story about people wanting to find real connection and hopeless romantics with our characters Allie and Owen. That's what I cared about because I love that
Mhm.
because we can all relate to that. I think we're currently, if I'm correct, I was researching this. I think we're in a loneliness epidemic right now with most people feeling lonely. And I think we're also struggling to find love in this world because social media has destroyed us having conversations with people.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie touches on a lot of that in a positive way, but then it's only like in 30 seconds to like 3 minute increments before it's like we got to say something ridiculous or we got to do something funny. That's why
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on. Now, in terms of One Night Only, um, did you like the story overall?
Yes, I guess that like the premise, not so much, but like the story of you're saying like these two characters and them being together, I did. Like just like basic rom-com tropes, I guess you could say. Like you said, like in a way with rom-coms, they're trying to find like a premise. Like they're trying to still be innovative in a certain way, so they're trying to like put something a little serious here, but it doesn't really work here because this movie is more trying to be like this cutesy rom-com instead of something that's actually like dealing with like the politics and moral ambiguity of this like whole mandate and things like that. But I kind of respect its boldness, so it's kind of like it wasn't like they didn't entirely pull it off, but hey, like kudos for trying, I guess.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Everyone's been dunking on this movie, but I'm like, you know what, man? We should be giving props that a studio saw this and was like, let's approve it. Let's get two good actors like Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner, and we have a director who's done rom coms before, Will Gluck. He did well with Anyone But You, Friends with Benefits, Easy A, and they roll with it. So people, jobs were created, and even if the movie isn't like I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, I was just like, at least they tried, because at the end of the day, it's hard to be innovative, like you're talking about, because when Harry Met Sally, it's hard because after When Harry Met Sally, how do you make anything better than that? At that point, you gotta start doing weird things like we're gonna do a sex law, where you can't have sex for like 12 hours unless you're married, which yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it was the story, I think when it focused on the characters, it's good. Everything else, and especially that fascism part, it was so strange to me throughout the whole time. I was like, everyone's just cool with it. Like, I can't believe it. Like, it just was like, I'm not buying into this. I'm moving. I'm going to Antarctica. There's no way.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
it's all of America, right? So you had to go like somewhere really
Yeah.
crazy.
Like, you know what I mean? And so, um,
I could kind of buy into it a little bit because I think like a certain perspective it was trying to have is kind of like our current reality where there is a lot of like fascism going on, but we do kind of just go along every day as normal because we kind of have to, right? So like I could see them kind of just like going on with their life as normal and like accepting it to a certain way. It's kind of like having some kind of commentary on how we just accept things. And so I could kind of see that. But at the end of the day, I think they needed to do at least something to explain this a little bit more because it was kind of like just like vague little things here and there, and then it just like kind of got pushed to the side. Yeah, it was just really just a setup so it could be this crazy thing. I felt like at the end of the day, they didn't have to put a mandate. They could have tried to make it something else or something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, you really nailed it. Yeah, it's just they're too vague because it's just distracting throughout the whole movie. You're just like, everyone's this cool about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know we have to live with without with our current reality too. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think if they tried to do it right now, I'm telling you, it would be a meltdown in this
There should have been
society.
like some huge protest or something somewhere or something.
Yes, that's what I kept thinking. I was like, there's got to be somebody out there who's like, no. Like, you would see some people being like, come on, guys, like stop being crazy sex maniacs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I was thinking throughout the movie? This is so ridiculous. Was can you imagine if you have you seen the movie Shame with Michael Fassbender?
Yeah.
Can you imagine him on that night?
That's true. Like, what about the sex addicts? Like, where are they? They're all in jail or what?
Yeah, like Michael Fassbender is like he's probably just eating at a restaurant. The one night only, he's just like, I don't even care anymore. I'm on parole. You know what's funny is I don't know if this got touched on. I was curious if you thought of this. And it's such a weird thing to bring up, but I have to bring it up is did they ever I don't remember if they ever mentioned because the thing was you couldn't have sex with somebody unless you were married. But what if you did it by yourself? Was that a crime? I don't remember if that was brought up. Do you know that?
They didn't bring it up, so I guess you still had that. But they did say, right, like the little stamp, the little fascist stamps they have on their bodies,
Yeah.
like they said something like you're like it like like calls the police or something when like your heart rate goes up or something like that.
Oh
So I guess
yeah.
like even if you're still like masturbating, I feel like it would still cause that reaction. So I think actually no, like people are just not having sex.
I'm telling you that if that is off the table, we're gonna be living the real purge. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
then there's really gonna be like a crazy the civil war is gonna happen.
Yes, because I was thinking, I was like as I'm writing the questions, I'm like, I don't remember them addressing that because I was just like, that would suck to be in the news that you got arrested not for having sex with somebody, you did it yourself. Like that is so embarrassing. Like you had to call you're trying to get
Yeah,
bail.
that would be.
Yeah, it's like
And I think, and like to your credit about the humor, like a funnier movie could have used those kinds of things to like milk more humor, you know. So like they could have done stuff with it.
I'm available. A movie douche and I are available to come add humor to your movie because that would have been hilarious to watch somebody get swatted like, as they're doing that. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? But then again, I guess they didn't show much sex
They
in
should just
that.
thought it was like this like teenager getting like arrested, like the FBI coming in.
Yeah, and speaking of like, this is kind of like a two-parter. Is what performances did you like and what characters did you like?
Well, kind of the same, I like we keep on saying it, but Monica and Callum, I think they were the best parts of it. I did like their characters because that's the thing, you kind of want to like the romantic leads, and you do like them. They are charming, and they're characters you could root for because like he's a guy that like his girl's like trying to leave him and you feel bad for him, and she's just trying to like make it work and also like live her dreams. So like yeah, like in those ways you do root for them. I liked Molly Ringwald's character as a mom in a way, but then I felt like she didn't really get to do much, but it was a cool idea to have her, So yeah.
Yeah, I did like Allie, Monica Barbaro, and then Owen Callum Turner. I do love seeing Molly Ringward as Owen's mom, and then LeVar Burton as her partner. I thought they were great. And then there was another character that I thought was so outrageous was the actor. His name is Mateo Ray, but he played the young boy that got babysitted, Troy. He was
Oh, yeah, wait, I
outrageous.
liked him too. I liked him too. Yeah,
Yes,
he was
because
funny.
yeah, he was good. And then the guy, this is funny. I don't know if you thought of this. I was watching, and there's a character called Ezra Stone. He's like a famous musician that Monica
Mm.
Barbaro's Allie has a huge crush on. He's played by an actor called Charlie Gillespie. The whole time he was on screen, I kept thinking he was the son of Matt Dillon.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm like, did Matt Dillon have a son? And I literally Googled it when the movie ended, and no, they're actually not even related. But my God, does that guy look like Matt Dillon? But going back to
I think it's the hair. I think it's the hair. Because have you seen that movie Splitsville?
yes,
He's in that movie too, and
yes.
I think he looks different there without that long hair.
Oh, I do love
Without that wig.
I do love that. See, that movie was outrageous to me, and I like that one a lot. That one was
Yeah, I like that
outrageous.
one.
But going back to Troy, yeah, that young man had a mouth. Let me tell you, I was shocked that some of that got in there because I was like, I that's kind of like a throwback to old humor. But let me ask you, when you were that age, were you ever talking like that? To women, never.
No.
No.
But I feel like we do know a kid who's kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't be like that way in front of their family, maybe, but like when they're with friends or with other people. So no, I was a very normal, polite kid.
Same with me, and also I have this conversation a lot with people, especially when my guy friends. Is I always tell them that it's very crucial and essential to have women friends. Disclaimer: women friends that you do not secretly have a crush on, that you're hoping that will change. I'm talking about legit friendship where you're like, that's my sister, that's my good friend, because they will help you in life when you're trying to date or anything in general, because women are smarter than us and they will help you not be a weirdo. And like this kid, when he's talking, I just wanted to grab him throughout the whole movie, like, I need you to stop talking like this because it's not working. And let me tell you, it's going to get worse in your 20s if you're talking like this. It's not happening. It will never happen. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Oh. But it's
But
entertaining.
he was funny. He was funny, and he did like kind of help them out. So
Yeah, actually, you know what's funny? He does come in clutch. Like
yeah,
he's never gonna score for himself, but he is the good. He might be a good wingman when you need him to like give you crucial information.
yeah.
And then like this one, I don't really. This is interesting. Is director Will Gluck recently did an interview and there was an explanation why there's not a lot of sex or like nudity like
Oh yeah, I saw that.
yeah, especially nudity. There's not a lot of it in here, and he said it was due to them cutting out a lot due to the last two movies he did because audiences apparently are uncomfortable about it. Do you agree with Will Gluck's explanation and choice to cut out and have minimal nudity in a movie about sex on one night for 12 hours? It's legal.
I mean, I think it's pretty ridiculous to like make a movie about sex and then want to sanitize it. But I do understand. I guess like I understand what he's saying. I don't agree with the decision though, because like his whole thing is, and I have like the studies with Gen Z and how they're like the next boomers and they're very puritanical in their views about sex, and we see this discourse on film Twitter or just out in the world where people are like young people are like, oh, like sex in movies are unnecessary. People are just so like more uncomfortable with it, which is why we have this loneliness epidemic because guys don't know how to talk to girls. Girls don't want to deal with guys. Like it's all this stuff and all these like fear tactics in the media too that like make people socially awkward. But like yeah, but like you can't like feed into that. Like I think it's like show them that it could be done and it could still be tasteful or it could still be funny or it could be sexy. Like there's nothing wrong with being sexy. Like stop watching movies with your parents then, like if you don't want to if you're uncomfortable about it. But hey, like the biggest thing about movies I think for a lot of people's sexual awakenings is being turned on by like hot people in movies. Like
Yeah.
that's the part of our childhood. Is that a weird thing to say?
No, I mean, no, because like we all like, like it's so funny. Yeah, it's so funny to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm very, I've always been cautious about what I say, but in terms of this, I agree with you. Like the whole nudity thing, I don't think they necessarily need to cut it out. I think you just put it out there because like at the end of the day, I think it's all about making the best film possible. I believe that nobody goes in wanting to make a bad movie. And so to
Yeah.
me, this was a disservice. It's a movie about sex, so put it in there. If people are uncomfortable, I don't know what to tell them, okay? I don't know what to tell them. If you're an adult, being uncomfortable is just part of the game. I'm not saying to be rude or disrespectful, or something that's going to get you something that's so bad that you're going to get canceled because that makes you a bad person. Not like that, but sometimes putting yourself out there is uncomfortable. Shooting your shot, whether it's at a person, whether it's friendship, relationship, or even pursuing your dreams, or even just going to a restaurant by yourself is uncomfortable. Like just go do it. Because let me tell you, when you don't do things in life, you will live in regrets. Okay.
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot is the way I articulate it is it's a limo. And every time you miss an opportunity, it stretches. So you're living in missed opportunity. That's limo acronym. And I think that people are currently acting like main character syndrome with the way their limo is so stretched out. You have to be uncomfortable. I mean, I watched films with my parents and there was sex and nudity. I mean, my mom told me to close my eyes at like 12 and that wasn't going to happen. But, I mean, I saw Basic
Yeah, that's
Instinct
what I
as
was
a
gonna say. Like
child.
that
Yeah.
back in our day, they would
Yeah.
just say, "Close your eye, close your face," and then you would peek through your fingers. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, if it's too uncomfortable with your parents, then don't watch it with them. I mean, I'm not saying throw out a whole bunch of unnecessary sex scenes. That is another issue I've seen too. Where like sometimes we don't need a sex scene for everything. I mean, like for instance, Euphoria. There's sometimes we don't need it. We don't need it. I'm telling you. And sometimes I guess it does work. But yeah, I just think that Will Gluck and them should have just trusted themselves. Because I've done audience screening movies. I did one for Flight, Terminator Genesis, and another movie. And they asked for my opinions. I gave it to them. And I went to go see the movies and nothing was changed. They clearly didn't listen to the Patrick. So, and nothing needed to be changed. I didn't care. I thought both of them were fine. Flight was better. But like, yeah, I think they should just put sex in there. What's the worst that happens? People are like, this is too much sex. It's like, it's a movie about sex. It would be like making the Purge movie and you never show violence. It would be strange. And it's funny, if you did that, people would go insane about it. Like, why did I watch this movie? There's no violence. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah. It's weird
yeah,
how people are like so okay with violence in our media, but not sex. It's like one is not harming people if it's consensual sex. Like why is that so much more dangerous than seeing somebody get shot in the face? Like that's so crazy.
yeah. And speaking of like, I know that some people, like a lot of the younger generation, they say doesn't like sex scenes, and they say like name a movie that has a sex scene that's that's necessary. And I always go with Shame. If you don't have that sex in that movie never works. So I
Yeah.
think Will Gluck and them should have just listened to themselves and trusted themselves. I think it would have been fine, but I'm not complaining about it either. I mean, it worked. The movie worked for what it was. And
I kind of feel like it probably wasn't even that much crazier the sex scenes he had because I can't even imagine because they still had like some dude butts. So like it's
yeah.
like I feel like it might have just been like a pair of boobs in one scene or something. It would have probably not been that crazy.
Yeah, I don't even, and I'm thinking about Friends with Benefits, where like there's that one scene where Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis are hooking up, and like I think one of them has to go to the bathroom, and you don't really see anything either. And it was
Yeah.
fine. It was fine. It's just like whatever, And I don't even think you've seen Mila Kunis naked, really. I believe she had a stand-in for one scene where you see her from the back nude. And like it was fine. Like I'm like, I hope to God they're not gonna start cutting that out because it'll be even stranger in One Night Only, where like people are having sex but we never see it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, in the movie One Night Only, what did you feel was the craziest situation our two main characters got involved in? It could be separate ones or ones where they were together.
Um, Probably I would say the Owen one where he's with that like hot older lady and he like doesn't know where to take her, so he takes her to his mom's house. It's like, bro, like why would you do that? I know why you didn't go back to your own apartment, but you went to your mom's house. Like I would say it's better to go to your apartment than your mom's house, like
The pizza parlor was
but
right there.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Or like honestly, everybody else is hooking up in the street. Why can't why can't
Yes, yes, like right. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a
you're
good.
in the limo already. Hook up in the limo.
Yeah, that is true. It's funny. That is an upcoming question, but I'm gonna bring it up. In a role playing scenario, as that we're gonna move into that one, is you're in that situation as Owen, and you will not bring that person to your mom's house to hook up, right? You're like, that's a no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a no too. And it's funny. This is a callback to your other episode, but I was like, depending on how movie douche Edwin answers this, it was. Remember you told me that your mom would give you facts about Post Malone,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
was just like, if Edwin brought somebody to his mom's house, not only is he getting lucky, they might be a big Post Malone fan and get a fact that they have not learned yet or whatever's happening, right? Oh my god, I was dying when I was thinking that because that made me laugh. But yeah, I would not either. One, I don't even want to. I barely even speak to my mom, so I wouldn't even want to see her, especially in that situation. No, and I cannot. I know I will never live that one down. She'll always bring that one up if I ever have an argument with her. She'll be like, "Remember that one time?" he brought that girl over to my house and tried to hook up with her. I'm like, damn it, I can't beat it. I can't beat it. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. The craziest situation was, I think it was from Monica Barbaro's alley, was when she went to that guy's house and it turned out that he was on parole and it wasn't even his house. And she's like running. She's running to escape cops and she's barely got any clothes on. That was insane to me because I was just like, at some point, I'm just giving up so I can put my clothes on. And then with Owen, the whole latex glove thing made me laugh because I'm like, I feel like everyone knows that's not gonna work, but yet he somehow hurts his eye, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
bro.
that was actually funny.
Yes, I was like, what the hell? Like that was pretty crazy. And then of course the condom situation. And speaking of the role play scenario where I asked you questions about being in the movie, is if you were one of the main characters in this, let's say you're living one night only, would you have tried to spend $200 to get the last condom for sale in your area on this wild day?
Honestly, if like one, I would have to say if I'm just existing in this world, and I'm like, and I have to follow the mandate, or I'm going to like prison as a brown person, like I probably would maybe follow the mandate, but still protest it. But I would be prepared with condoms for this night. So I would say I would not be Callum Turner. But if I was in this scenario and I'm gonna hook up with a really hot person and I need a condom, yeah, I'm probably paying the $200.
Okay. So I'm with you. I look like Stanley from The Office when it's pretzel day, but I'm up at 3 a.m, running to the nearest bodega to get in line for I'm looking like we're about to get a new iPhone or GTA 6. Like I am in line for those condoms.
Oh yeah, Julia Fox too. She's hot.
Yeah,
like so.
But you are right. If I'm in that situation and this is a person that I'm like, they're way out of my league, I don't think I'll ever. This may not get better for the Patrick. I ain't gonna lie to you. That could be $400 and I might buy it. But usually I'm like, I would be up early. But yeah. By the way, what were you thinking when I sent you that question ahead of time? I was just curious because I was dying writing it. And I'm like, I wonder what Edwin's going to think when he reads this. Like, what the fuck?
I was just laughing because I feel like, I mean, it is an appropriate kind of question to ask in this specific scenario when we're talking about the movie, you know. So
yeah, like if it wasn't about this movie, you'd be like, I'm never coming back on this podcast, right? like you know, yeah, it was just I think you and I are ahead of the game. We're gonna get ours ahead of time. Like we're not gonna wait that long. And speaking of that, is Monica Barbaro's character Allie? Something happens when they can't get them. They have to pay cash only, and the ATM's not working. Is she devises a plan to wrap a rope around this display for condoms, and it's like locked in a box. You would think that this was like a crown jewel the way the lady had to get a key to get it. And she has the guy who's on parole gets on the motorcycle and she wants him to take off so they can take it. Do you think that you're that desperate that you're gonna do that?
I don't know. Maybe if I was drunk, but but no, I don't think I would. I wouldn't think like the whole point is like to not go to jail, so I don't want to go to jail for stealing a condom. But also, the whole time I was just thinking like, why doesn't he have a condom? Especially since he's this like sex addict, basically, or
Yeah.
just so it's like, why doesn't he have it? And also, he would like just leave. And then like she would be flirting with Callum Turner. I'm like, where's this other guy? Like, where's he
Yeah.
at?
I don't think I would do it, but once again, if I'm in that same situation where this is out of my league, might have
Yeah.
to, but let me tell you, I'm going a lot further down before I stop that motorcycle. I'm telling that person, like, keep going for a couple blocks and then stop so I can see if I can get it. I'm not
I'll
going to
be
do
like,
it.
listen, I'll be like, let me sell you. I'll send you an extra $50.
Yeah, there you go. You start making transaction deals. You're like, I'll do whatever it takes to get this.
Yeah.
Another one is speaking of Owen with when he has that romantic date in the beginning with Maya Hawke, his girlfriend in the movie, is if you're on a romantic, you set up a romantic dinner and you're hanging out with your girlfriend, and they reveal that they want to hook up with a neighbor in your building for this one night only. How do you handle that situation?
Wait, and you missed a key detail.
Oh.
And he was about to propose to her.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And you're about to propose to this person. Thank you for bringing it up. And you're about to propose. How do you handle this situation?
I am breaking up with her on the spot. Like, there's no way I'm like, yeah, like we've been dating for 2 years. We've only been able to hook up twice. and you're gonna go hook up with somebody else, at least be like, hey, let's have a threesome. Hey, like let's hook up and then maybe have a like she could have totally had this conversation way before this this holiday, you could say, and say, hey, like maybe we should like, because we're so oppressed in this place where we could only have sex once a year, maybe we should like open our horizons. If there's a conversation about it, fine, maybe I could be open to it. But how she handled it just sounded like she didn't want to be with him. Like she didn't care about him at all.
Yeah, and I'm just like in my mind, I just was like, if I'm in that situation, like I have to pull a Deadpool, look in the camera, be like, we're currently living some Stranger Things right now, aren't we, guys? Like, and then I'm also looking at her like, you really want to hook up with the guy who just put out How to Make a Killing? Like, I don't think that did really well at the box office. You know what I mean? Like, this is me throwing out those jokes and being like, yeah, I would definitely, in all seriousness though, we're done. Absolutely, we're done. Because like you said it, we could take things to the next level. This is a downgrade for me. It's like, okay, I don't want to. I need to go explore. It's like that. It's not you, it's me. And I'm like, no, it's definitely me. I'm definitely breaking up. We're done. And I got to be honest. Owen's a better bad than me because I think I'm losing my mind. I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna be as crazy as the rest of these people. Whatever, whoever. Let's go. Like,
I mean, he kind of was in a way. At first he went very like sad, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to hook up."
Yeah, and
he just was bad at it.
He just happens to meet Julia Fox. I'm not that lucky. I'm not meeting Julia Fox. Like
he's good looking, but he doesn't really have game.
Yeah,
that character.
How frustrating was that? Is I look at him and I go, man, people, he's a good looking guy. Callum Turner is a good looking guy. His character's a good looking guy, and he has no game. This is really hard for somebody like me who has a friend that says like, you're not bad, and I'm like, well, I'm not good either. The way you said that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's such a horrible thing to say to somebody.
Yes, by the way, I hope they listen to this because we go through that joke every time. But yeah, it's just like he has no game, and you're just like, how the hell did he get my? It must be the pizza, right? It has to be the pizza's that good. Oh my god.
Maybe some people like some girls I think like a awkward guy if he's good looking, obviously.
All right, speaking of this, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly with this movie, because like it was such a movie to process because I had just saw Super Troopers 3, so I'm still digesting that at the same time as I'm watching this.
Which I was in the same boat, by the way.
Yes, that was hilarious that we both watched the same double feature. Is
in the same order.
Yes, in the same order. Is like, so like in this movie, I think they talk about nice guys briefly. And like I think they're like saying like nobody wants a nice guy, which is true. I do 100% agree with that. I and also it just made me laugh because I was just like, he is a nice guy and nobody wants that. Like that's why your girlfriend is rather hook up with Glenn Powell. By the way, did you love the little photo cameos of Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell from Anyone But You popping up in this movie?
Okay, at first I didn't know this was directed by the same director of Anyone But You, so when those came up, I was like, this is kind of random, but okay. But yeah, I found it funny.
Oh my god, that was so good. Yeah. And so the last question in the role scenario question. These are some of the most strangest questions I've ever had to ask a guest. Is okay, so you have to choose to live in one movie world involving a 12-hour window to do something legally once a year. Which do you choose? The Purge, where you can commit any criminal activity for 12 hours, or the One Night Only world, where you can legally have sex for those who are unmarried for 12 hours? Which one do you choose?
Oh, I mean, you could cuss on this show, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, okay. Obviously, the Purge world, you could have sex whenever you want, so there's that. You have a full life outside of this day. But I'd rather much have one epic day of fucking than one day of that I'm gonna get murdered. And I'm not rich, so I'm definitely one of these people that's gonna get murdered. So I'd rather be fucking.
You are always welcome on my podcast. I love this honesty. I felt like when I wrote this question, I go, no matter what happens, we're choosing violence in whatever we pick. I gotta be honest. As much as I would love to live in the Purge world and get back at my enemies, I am with you. I'm not rich and I have to fear for my safety. I'm going to have to just play I'm going to have sex. Well, actually, I don't even know. I might have sex one day in the year if I'm lucky. I'm staying in the One Night Only world. I can't do the Purge. I just can't. It's just not happening.
And if you're like an average looking guy, this is probably the best night for you because everybody's down. So it's like the end of the world kind of shit.
You know what's funny is that as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, I could totally write a movie about how I'm the one guy in this world who's not getting lucky. Like everyone's like, hold on, that other guy's better. Like, like the whole time it's like one night only, two, choosing. And it's me. It's just me as the character and everyone's choosing someone else. Yeah, I would
You know
have
what? Now that you mentioned that, I feel like if this movie premise was made like in the 90s or early 2000s, there would have totally been a friend of one of them, probably Owen, that was going through this side adventure during this movie. That would have made it funnier. Yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely should hire you.
Yeah, they should, because I would love to be the one guy that like he comes up to me, he's like, dude, everybody is fucking except me. And I'm like, what do you think I am? I've been with you this whole time. Who do you think I've been fucking ever walking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone says they want you, but you don't have a condom. And I do.
Yeah.
And I won't give you mine. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, oh my God, there's so many things they could have done. But as we wrap, we're going to do the wrap up here because I really love this episode. This might be the second episode I've been the most unfiltered. I don't know why. I'm very filtered. I'm always worried I'm going to get canceled. I don't know why. As if I said anything that has got me canceled yet. But the wrap up, let's talk about the ending. Now, the ending you did talk a little bit about, but like going fully into it is we get this beautiful thing where things don't work out with the, Owen and that older British lady, I believe, or she was from Europe. And then Allie tries to hook up with Ezra Stone, this musician that she has a big thing for. And let me tell you, she had a big crush on him, but he definitely did. He was very small in those expectations of who he was, and she ends up going to the pizza parlor. He ended up at the pizza parlor because, his mom was like, you got to go. And there is where the bread and butter is for me, is like they have this conversation, and that's what it comes down to. That's the part. And of course, I'm just going to walk through this beat real quick. Yeah. And then of course he gets the call. His girlfriend says that she made a mistake to come back. And so I'm just going to leave it there, and you can talk about that whole thing or whatever part toward the ending and ending overall. What did you think of that?
I enjoyed it. Like it's very typical rom-com fare. Like they meet at a place because she's always talked about the lighthouse and how it's special. So you knew the client, like the finale had to be there. So like that was fine. It was all cutesy. This is like you said, like this is when the movie really is at its best, when it's like these two characters together. So once you have that and you have the one more drama and then they meet with each other and all of that, like I did like it. I was like, okay, this is very typical and predictable, but again, when you go into a rom-com, that's what you want. I don't want them to not end up together, You want the corniness. So like it was satisfactory.
You would have hated me because this rom-com that I'm really working on, I almost did not have them. Well, I did a test thing. Look at me. I'm just as bad as Will Gluck. I should have no business saying anything. Is I was talking to a friend and I was telling her about some, like, what I wanted to do. And I'll never forget this. She goes, if you make me for 2 hours watch these two characters interact and they do, and I don't know for sure if they end up together, I'm going to chase you down. I hate you. And so I had to go back to the drawing board and find another way out. Yeah.
Wait, but was it a rom-com or was it like a romance movie?
It was a rom-com, and I because you and I watch a lot of movies, I felt that an open ending where I allowed the audience to determine was the route I originally wanted to go with. She was like, Patrick, don't you do that. Because I from what you told me, I'm already invested in what you shared. You can't do this. You can't do this. You're gonna make people angry. And I'm like, okay, so I changed it.
I think it depends. I think it depends how it goes about, because I know La La Land is not, rom-com, but I know you love that movie, but that one definitely ends that way, and it's amazing because of that. That's why when these movies go against genre tropes, they could be memorable in that way, but it's how it's executed, I think.
Yeah, and I think I have to go the route she went, because the way I broke down that ending, she was like, that is so fucking ridiculous if you go that route. But yeah, I agree with you on that. La La Land's so funny. You're like, I know you love La La Land. Everybody who knows me, whether they actually like know me in person through the podcast, everyone knows I love La La Land.
Are you gonna go watch it in theaters?
Actually, yeah, I actually have 2 showings booked. I can't.
Of course you do.
I'm living La La Land right now. Like, I didn't understand La La Land. Like, I always wanted to be in movies, but like when you're actually trying to pursue your dreams and you
So
face
you're Emma Stone right now?
I am Emma Stone, and I face rejection. I've had people slight me. I'm not happy about some things that were said to me. So yeah, I'm on a rampage right now. So I'm like, I could care less if my Ryan Gosling shows up. I'm getting where I need to go. But if they help me, good. But yeah, so you're right though. On it's very typical. I'm one of those people. I don't know about you. I'm very good with the details. Clearly, I have to be right because I literally brought up a Post Malone in this episode, which is a total callback to our first episode and one of our first real interactions. So yeah, I pay attention to details, which is really good if you're trying to date because a lot of guys don't pay attention. And I'm telling guys, you have to pay attention to the details. Even the things you don't think matter, I'm telling you, they'll come back into play. So the lighthouse was really good. The thing that drove me nuts, and you were talking about this earlier about like you react in your mind like a horror movie, but with the rom-com version, is like when he picks up he's like, "Oh, my girlfriend's calling. Should I pick it up?" You do not need to ask her that. That is rhetorical. No, don't pick it up. Okay, look what's right in front of you. Something beautiful, and Monica Barbaro is. But I'm talking about the situation. Like you met somebody today. You went on a journey.
Her in that dress?
Yeah, her in that dress. But I'm just like, and like it's a double entendre. Like she's beautiful, and also this situation's beautiful. You met somebody who you connected with. Do not pick up that phone. And then I think it's really good how they did that with Monica Barbaro, where like it looks like they hook up, and then it turns out that's just her daydreaming, which is a callback to the beginning of the movie. And he picks it up, and I was like, "Oh my god, I hate you!" Like that's how it's funny. I get more angry at rom-coms than horror movies. Is I'm just because like I don't know about you. It's just sometimes are you like a very are you very aware of everything? Like you have a really good read on people.
Yeah, like when you were saying earlier how you're the friend that gives relationship advice, I'm like that, but I'm like the single friend that I don't like date much, but I see it in other people. But it's also probably because like I've seen it in my family and everything growing up that I'm like, probably closed off in that way. That's a therapist's job to fix for me. Yeah, but that's why I think it works in rom-coms because I think more often than not, yeah, not everybody's detail oriented, but you could at least see other people that are into each other, and then when it's a movie, you could see it too. But it's hard for you to see it when it's yourself. So like when it's somebody else and they're like obviously flirting, and you're like, guys, just get together. But then when it's you, you're like you're self-doubting yourself, you're insecure. There's all these other issues that come up. So then that's when it's like that's why rom-coms work because we've all been in that situation, but we've also been in a situation where like just get together already. And in that situation, I'm the same thing. I'm like, fuck my hawk. Like, like don't answer that phone. But at the same time, you get why he is because he's this good guy who's still like he's still hung up on her. He is.
Wow. People who are listening to this that know me are like, I'm pretty sure Edwin just described you earlier because that's you. You look like LeBron James when it's not you. When it's time for you to get in there, you look like all the NBA players from Space Jam after they lost the talent. You don't know what's going on, and it's like watching a sketch. You're just like it looks like Buster Keaton the way I'm falling. Oh my god. And so yeah, I mean that the thing about it is even if I am not happy about it, in terms of as somebody who writes, you have to, even somebody who can read, somebody like myself, we still don't see everything. And that's why you have to it has to go this way. Even if you don't like it, it has to go this way. And even though it is typical, I will say it is kind of funny that one of the most in clutch moments is what was his name again? Hold here. That young kid, Troy. Yeah, he ends up coming in clutch. And it works out. And it really kind of worked well because it is typical, but it is very similar. But I love how at the end at the lighthouse that plaque psoriasis, by the way, representation for plaque psoriasis comes into play, and it ended up becoming part of this commercial. And I was like, that worked well for me. And then you talked about
So
this.
you do like the humor a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I didn't find it funny, but I was just laughing, like not laughing, but I was just like, that's hilarious that this would come back into play because we can relate to that. Like something happens and it's just so ludicrous that you're like, how did this happen? And it's like, that's why 10 years down the line, you're going to tell that story. You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, I guess okay, that would have been the second one was like them having to like this plaque psoriasis commercial comes back into play. And then of course the whole like them, like them not having sex. I like that there's a choice about connection, but it's so strange because it's just like, okay, you guys have been trying to hook up with somebody. You met somebody. You both have met somebody. It's each other, and there's a genuine connection. You got to be like Zach and Miri, man. You got to be like Jason Mewes' character, Pete Jones. Be like, let us fuck and just take her into the room and just get it over with. But of course, they decide to switch it up and make you work for it. I thought the ending was okay. Overall, I thought it was okay. I just wish the movie was a little bit better for me.
Another would you situation, I would have fucked.
Yes. Yes. I would say yes. I would say, hey,
in the lighthouse.
Yes, in the lighthouse. I'm like, how many times are we going to be able to do this in a lighthouse where nobody's going to walk in? This is our opportunity. Like, we have been lost.
Literally, you have one time a year.
Yes. Like, we're two boats lost at sea and we have found each other. We must fuck in this lighthouse. That's what I would literally say. And
that's like the most romantic thing ever.
Yeah. And it's like, I should have joined the writers. We should have been in the writers' room to do this because we could have easily made this even more ridiculous. But yeah, I think it worked out really well. And I just wish, though, the movie was better. That's considering I've seen Friends with Benefits. I love that one. I love Easy A. Anyone But You, whatever. Everyone liked it. I guess apparently everyone likes it except me. I feel like that's me. Anyone But You.
Honestly, I've seen it. I only seen it once in theaters, and I can like barely remember that movie.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, and so to wrap it up here, let me look. I'm old school. I got to print this all out here. So for your rating, I'm very curious on this. For your rating, out of 100%, what would you give One Night Only?
I'm gonna out of 100%. Okay. What's a C grade average?
I guess that would be in the 70s, right?
70%, right? I think that's where I lie. Like, I still was amused by it. Like, again, like this is very much I just felt like this was like a How I Met Your Mother episode string together. Even the decision at the end not to hook up, that's so something would have happened with Ted Mosby. But and I used to love that show. I haven't really. It's not like another sitcom where I watch it randomly now, like I do with Friends or 30 Rock. But I liked it in college a lot, so I was amused by it. Good chemistry, good actors, bold premise. It just didn't fully. It's not fully memorable, or didn't fully do anything with its premise that would have made it more intriguing for everybody.
Yeah, that's a good way. So I'm gonna give it a 30%.
Okay.
It was like, even though I didn't like it, I still enjoyed parts of it. Like maybe it's because I've gone older too. It's just like I'm not gonna let a movie ruin my day, because there's parts I enjoyed about it, but I just felt like overall it's like you meet somebody and you think it's going to work out, and you're just at the end of the day, you're like, you know what? This wasn't worthwhile. I'm sorry, we're going to have to part. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. Like after by 12, when 12 hours and 1 minute or 1 second hits, I'm like, we're done. I feel like those characters after they all hooked up, like, it was, see you next year. No, bye. But at the end of the day, I have no regrets seeing it, because I love going to see rom coms. So it was nice to see something that it's nice to see a rom-com that I don't know if I've seen one in a while. And speaking of that, this is really interesting here. Do you think this is a film that you would rewatch and or own on physical media?
I wouldn't own it. Would I rewatch it? Yeah, but it's very situational. It's maybe more like I'm with friends and they're like, I haven't seen it, I want to watch it. I'll be like, yeah, sure. But just randomly me, there's a lot of other rom-coms that I would rather watch.
Yeah, it's like when you're going through Will Gluck's, you're like, Easy A, yeah. Friends with Benefits, yeah. Anyone But You. You talking about One Night Only? Yeah. No, I definitely would not. I definitely would not own it. Rewatching it, probably like you, not by myself, but somebody's like, I would like to. I haven't seen it. Like, would you be up for it? I've seen it, because I feel like it would be a good conversation at the end.
Yeah.
What do people think about it? Because that's another cool thing about watching movies that I think a lot of film Twitter and the film community has lost, is having conversations with people about movies, whether we agree or not. So yeah, I definitely
actual conversations.
Yeah, what I mean. And then here's another question: is this your?
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yeah. Oh,
do you
okay.
and this one is simple. Do you like Anyone But You better or One Night Only better?
Oh my god! It's funny. Oh my god! I think I don't even remember Anyone But You, but I might have to go with it, because I think at least it works more in terms of its story, right? I mean, she has to pretend. I think I would have to go with that one. What do you think?
I can't really remember it, but I do. But I think I would choose One Night Only because the two leads were really good. Were in
Oh.
Anyone But You. I think Glenn Powell was effective, but Sydney Sweeney not always in that
Oh.
movie at least.
You know what's funny is I hope, well, we definitely got to do another episode. We'll have to do a rom com we both like. It'd be really funny to come back and be like, "Do you
You
remember
need to watch 13 Going on 30. That's what we need to
when
talk
when
about.
when I when I do a romantic series?" Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it because I will definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely up to check it out. But yeah, like I'm sure like down the road, like I hope when we do another podcast, ask one of us ask the other if we remember both of those movies months down the line, and I guarantee you both gonna be like, I don't think we remember any of those movies. What were those movies about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just not my cup of tea at the end of the day. And then here's an interesting question. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
With director Will Gluck, is this your favorite rom com of his?
No.
No.
I definitely love Easy A. I love that movie.
Yeah, Easy A is still, and Friends with Benefits would be my second. Yeah, so no. And then of course the $1,000,000 question we want to know: does One Night Only enter your top rom com list?
No, definitely not.
No,
Not
no.
even of this year. I have seen better rom-coms.
What other rom com do you know that came out? Like I haven't watched many, but is there another one out there that you're like, it's way better than this one?
So there's two other Netflix rom-coms I saw. One I didn't really like, which is Voicemails from Isabel. I love the idea, and I do like Zoe Dutch in the rom-com space, but the movie didn't really
Hmm.
it wasn't really good in my opinion. But I saw it this weekend, and I actually did really like it. Was that other Netflix movie called like The People We Meet on Vacation, or something like that, like Who You Meet on
Oh.
Vacation, with Tom Blythe from The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And that one, like when you were talking about When Harry Met Sally, and you were saying how like a spiritual sequel, I feel like any kind of rom-com that's about two friends that we know should get together is like a spiritual
Mm.
sequel, right? And even When Harry Met Sally itself didn't like invent that premise, that has been done before too. It just was like done the best, and then so like this movie is like about two friends who it's a lot like When Harry Met Sally in a way. Like they both are going to college, and they meet on the drive back from college to home because they live in the same town, just like in When Harry Met Sally. But after
Okay.
that is different. Like he has a girlfriend that he's always on and off with, and she has her own string of boyfriends, also kind of like When Harry Met Sally.
Mm.
But the thing is that every summer they do a vacation together, and she's like the more outgoing one, and he's like the very serious one. So like when they go on vacation, and it's like in the past, like, so the present is them meeting up after like having like a falling out that you're not entirely sure what happened.
Mm.
And then it's flashbacking to like the last summers they had. And it's like little funny things that happen between them. But then the whole time you're like, just get together already, like you're seeing it. But what I like about rom coms is like you see like you see these characters like talk with each other, and then there's like close-ups or something, and you see this reaction on the character's face where you're like, oh, he's in love with her, that he just hasn't been able to say it yet. And those moments, like it feels good. So that rom-com, I think it was well made. I like that one a lot better.
You're about to get a kick out of this. I put it on months ago. Whenever it came out, I think like a few weeks after it came out, I got through about 15 minutes and I never saw it again. I have to watch it because the way you broke it down. But yeah, I was not feeling it, but like it was one of those you just like threw on. The voicemails one, I've heard a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, people really like that one.
Yeah, and I'm hoping I'll have to check them both out, and then I'll have to like message you and tell you what I think. Yeah, I'm very particular, but you are right about When Harry Met Sally. It didn't invent things. I just think the only thing it did do was it was honest about so many things. Even if
Yeah.
the movie's almost 40 years old, it's so relevant to this day that it's hard to beat it. That we have to make movies where like sex is only legal for 12 hours for unmarried people. So that's where we're at now. Um, and that wraps up One Night Only. And the one thing I'm going to say, and I said this earlier, I just want to say something really honest with people, is if you take anything away from One Night Only, is you need to take chances in life. I'm begging people to do this. and I'm going to listen to my own advice because, as Edwin described me perfectly earlier at one point, we don't listen to ourselves. But I mean this sincerely, is if you take anything away from this movie, whether I liked it, Edwin clearly liked it better than me, or you don't, and whoever's listening, whether you like it or not, take something away from movies. That's one thing I've always learned. No matter how good a movie is or how bad it is, you can learn something. Take chances. It's
And
okay.
I'll say everybody fuck more because because like there's always this old person that's always telling you you're young, have more sex, and you're always like, shut up, grandpa, you're just a perv, But but it's true. Have more fun. Like Gregoraki said, like his home movie, I Want Your Sex. He's like, Gen Z's not fucking anymore. He's like, go out there and like obviously don't get into dangerous situations,
Yeah.
but hey, be more willing to hook up and not always gonna end in love. Like have fun.
Yeah, actually, I did.
But wear condoms.
Yeah. Obviously, be safe and like be safe in terms of protection and obviously your safety. Don't put yourself in like really bad situations. But yeah, I saw that movie too, and yeah, I agree. You got to take chances. It's okay to shoot your shots, as we clearly saw with Obsession, what not to do. And
Yes.
like in all seriousness, it's okay to fail. Sometimes you're gonna be successful, and sometimes you're not gonna be. And let me tell you though, the more and more you start putting yourself out there, having random conversations, you might find something so extraordinary and let life just take you where it goes. And hopefully it leads to good things. If it doesn't, then that's the point of life, is that you learn things. So be uncomfortable in good situations, not like don't be uncomfortable in situations where you really are not safe. That's what
Like nobody's saying jump into an orgy,
yeah,
like
or don't put yourself with somebody you're like, I really don't feel safe with that person.
safe with them.
That's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like you there's this person you might be into, you enjoy their company, see what happens. And that's all
Yeah.
I'm going to say with One Night Only. And and definitely listen to Edwin's advice. Yeah, if you want to fuck more, be my guest. I mean, that's cool too.
Go out to the bar and act like it's a one night only. Act like it's on a one time of the year and go out there.
I don't know if I told this story, or if it didn't make the podcast. I'll share this story with you, Edwin, as we wrap this up. I went to go see Greenland 2 Migration by myself.
Okay.
And I like talking movies. This is before I did the podcast. And so
Okay.
there was an old lady. I noticed there's, two people came in as before the movie started. There's an old lady and there's like this college girl. And as the movie ended, I was just so perplexed by it that I'm like, as I was the first one to leave, I say to myself, whoever comes out that door first, I'm just going to ask them what they think. I'm extroverted, but a lot of times lately I've been introverted, where I'm doing the same thing that we're telling all these kids to not do, is I won't
Yeah.
talk. And so the college girl came out, and I said, I don't mean to bother you. I was just curious, what did you think of Greenland 2 Migration? Now, I'm expecting her to kind of not really want to talk. Like it was okay, and that was it, right? So, no, we have a conversation where we're walking side by side. She's like, it was, I thought it was good. What did you think? Was not expecting this to go that way. And we're talking about the movie. And then another movie has let out as we're walking toward the exit, and there's two guys behind us. Now, this is what not to do, is I see my exit. I parked my car right in the back of the theater, so there's the back exit. But we're talking, okay? And I have a choice to make, Edwin. I could go out through the back exit and just abruptly end the conversation and be awkward and be like, I gotta go because I need to go feed my dog. Or I could take a leap of faith, and this is a lot. This conversation was not what I expected. She's actually wanting to talk. I could just go out to the front and then part ways or whatever, right? What do you think I did?
You definitely went for the exit.
I went for the back exit, and I did it so awkwardly that I could hear one of the guys kind of mouth a little bit like, what the fuck? Like he knew that was, and she was just like, oh, okay, bye. And I was like, bye. And I remember telling somebody this, and they were like, don't ever, don't ever do that again. What would you have done if I had told you I did that? And I would say, you go out through the fucking front exit. That's what you do. You just power through it. And she was just like, what the fuck did you do? And it's still to this day, it eats me up. I'm like, why did I even start the conversation? She's got to be sitting there. I'm guaranteeing you, when I did that, she was just like, why the fuck did he even start a conversation with me? Don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm begging you guys, don't do that. So that's the story I'm sharing. Is
Hey, but you kind of tried. You were halfway. You halfway made an effort.
I was just so convinced. I was just like, my poor French bulldog is starving. And I was just in my mind, I'm just like, I've been so out of practice. I was like, I'm just gonna fucking I gotta go. I just have to go. And I think to myself, if I ever go back to that theater and I saw her again, how funny would that be? Like to bump in there and she's like, "You're that one weird guy who asked me about Greenland 2 migration and then you just left. Like, what the fuck?" And I'm just like,
Yeah, you guys both walk out of Greenland 3
yeah.
expedition.
Yeah.
And then and then you come out and then you want to ask the same question and then you see her walk out with a boyfriend this time and then the La La Land music plays, you know? Like,
Yeah. And it turns out that the boyfriend is the guy who's behind me that was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
He was like,
exactly.
"I was in Greenland too." Like, oh my God. Yeah, wow, that
That's
was great.
cinema.
There you go. So that concludes One Night Only. I can't thank you enough, Edwin, aka Movie Douche, for coming on. I gotta be honest, I love doing podcasts with you because you are able to you're able to kind of just how I am and you kind of show your personality. Like sometimes I always wonder, like some people I'm like, you just gotta come out of your shell with me because we're gonna go there. And you do it
Yeah.
every time and then you really do surprise me. I'm gonna give you this. You surprised me with a couple of your questions or what you said that I'm just like, whoa, we totally could hang out. Yeah, So I always thank you for coming on and also for not leaving me. I've been trying to do new movie releases and it has been failing so badly that when you said you were down, I was like, oh, thank the maker.
Yeah, no problem. I like doing conversing about movies anytime, so
Ye-
definitely.
Yeah, and you will be back. Now, if people want to follow you, Movie Douche, where can they go? I love how I say that, even though I just literally gave the answer.
Yeah, my tags are movie douche anywhere on Twitter, movie douche, and on Letterboxd, movie douche. If you want long reviews that I write while high after I watch a movie, that's your page.
I highly recommend that you give him a follow. You're one of my favorite mutuals. I say this and you're like, I don't know. Am I? Because I feel like you barely come on and interact, but I'm trying to get back into the game. I have been so... I feel like I'm Odysseus. I'm on that water trying to find my way home. But yeah, thank you again for coming on. And I will definitely have you back on soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Once again, thank you so much to Edwin, aka Movie Douche, for coming on to the show. That was an absolute blast. If you take anything away from this episode, please, he had one of the greatest quotes, the greatest quote I think ever in Rom Coms movies history. And listen to him, truly. So this wraps up the episode. So thank you so much for listening. And if you haven't already, if you're listening to the podcast on one of the podcast apps, make sure you hit the follow so you can stay up to date when new episodes drop. If you're watching the YouTube version, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also the bell notification to stay up to date when new episodes drop. You can take it even further if you haven't already and follow us on social media. We have the same handle across all the platforms at TOCMovies on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. And if you don't want to search anything, just basically go to the show description notes of any episode and hit the link tree, and it'll take you to the site where you can just click on wherever you want to go, and then you can follow from there. And we will be back with more hidden gems of cinema, more action series, hopefully some more new movie releases, and maybe some other surprises, as we're gearing up to, drop some more movie series and other things in the works. So I am the Patrick, your host. Until next time, stay tuned for another episode of Tomorrow Comes Movies.